Hey guys, welcome back here to Intuitive Angling, and much appreciated you guys swinging by the channel today. And guys, today I want to have a conversation about how Bassmaster is literally freaking all the pros out because they're so polygraph happy, and all the freaking countless numbers of polygraph and all the hoo-ha behind it the last 2 or 3 years on the Bassmaster Elite Series and the Bassmaster Opens. It has gotten to the point where it's just ridiculous. And I sort of want to dig into this a little bit about the whole polygraph deal and the protests and all that type of stuff. So we're going to get into that today's episode and look forward to hearing your guys' comments about that. Also, guys, I wanted to clue you in on one bait that's been working really good right now if you guys are interested. A lot of people fish the Megabass Magdraft. I mean, it's the 6-inch Magdraft, super popular bait. But guys, try the 8-inch model. Here's the difference between the 6-inch and the 8-inch model. Guys, this bait is one of the best big bass lures in the springtime of the year you'll ever fish. And out of all the Megabass Magdrafts they make 4 different sizes. The 8-inch, in my opinion, has got the best looking action. The thing looks incredible in the water. It catches 2-pounders, it catches 10-pounders. So I'll put my 8-inch Megabass Magdraft link in the description and my Tackle Warehouse link in the video if you guys would like to try a couple. Throw them around main lake secondary points, on bluff banks, riprap banks, 25-pound test Sea Garden Vizex line, and it'll definitely get you a good bite. So just one of those baits of fish that people don't use them much anymore. People don't use the 8-inch model much. They use the smaller ones here. Okay, guys, what I want to talk about today is another Bassmaster Elite Series pro was polygraphed last week, and I think he failed the polygraph, and then he's going to appeal the polygraph. And this has just been a reoccurring story, guys. I've literally lost track of how many Bassmaster Elite pros and Bassmaster Open pros and even people on the MLF have been polygraphed so much the last 2 or 3 years. And I've been fishing Bassmaster tournaments and FLW tournaments since the 80s. And I have never, ever seen this before. It's like, back when I was fishing a lot of the tournaments back 15, 20, 30 years ago, it was big news if somebody got a polygraph, and it didn't happen hardly ever. I'm talking about once every 3 or 4 years, somebody would get polygraph or something. And now it's literally every tournament. It's like, you look back at the Elite Series and all that the last couple of years, there has been so many people polygraph, protested, accused, taken polygraph, failing polygraphs, and then Bassmaster won't give the polygraph results to the angler that takes it. It's clouded in secrecy, this whole thing. And here's what I want to talk about. There has got to be a better system than the polygraph, because number one, a polygraph is inadmissible in court, simply for good reasons. They are inaccurate. Polygraphs can be easily beaten. You can easily get false readings, guys. If people are on some type of medication, or they're nervous, or something, something's going on with them as far as, internally, they can fail or they can pass a polygraph. You can take like some type of a psychopath that doesn't have any emotion, they can pass a polygraph. They teach people in the military how to pass polygraph tests. There's been a lot of people that have failed polygraph tests that did not do anything wrong because the question was posed wrong. Like I said, they may have been under medication or whatever. It is a terrible system. And here's the problem you have with polygraphs and Bassmaster's polygraph happy mentality now. It can ruin a career, because if somebody gets polygraphed and fails a polygraph test, I don't care what goes on with it. It's a stain on their career. You can't get past it. It's like if there's some type of, like inconclusive data or whatever, or even if they're polygraphed, just the pure mention of that, if there was a polygraph for an accusation, it leaves a stain on an angler's career, and it can end an angler's career. And it could end them unfairly. I mean, you hear about people all the time that were put in prison unfairly, and they found a piece of evidence 20 years later that exonerated them. It's the same thing in polygraphs. So here's the situation. Bassmaster and all the tournament organizations have got to drop the polygraph test. They have got to come up with a better system. The only way that you can do with that, guys, is you have got to have evidence. You got to be able to, not only that you have to encourage people to self-report, but you have to have other anglers that can verify that there was an infraction. And almost like a court case, prove it beyond a reasonable doubt that somebody committed some type of a violation. And I think when you're talking about people failing polygraphs in tournament fishing, I think it is extremely rare that somebody intentionally and maliciously tries to cheat in a tournament, especially on the Bassmaster Elite Series level. Now, maybe if you're fishing some buddy tournament, you know, some Jack Lake buddy tournament somewhere, that's, you know, we got some dudes out there that are sort of unscrupulous, then yeah, maybe that's a place for a polygraph test. But polygraph tests, in my opinion, on the upper level tournament fishing circuits have no place in there, because like I said, the downside of the polygraph, there's more downsides to it, to what it does to the sport and the angler's career than... Sorry guys, had a little glitch in the video there, but anyway, what I was talking about, when you look at the big picture as far as polygraphs, the downside of a polygraph test in the big picture, when you talk specifically about the anglers, there's just more downside than there is positive about it. Because like I said, I think it is extremely rare for people just to maliciously cheat. You know, I think that, you know, most people that have some type of a rule violation, it's just an honest mistake. And it's like, there are situations that can come up that cause you to fail a polygraph test. Now I'll run a perfect scenario by you guys. You know, I've talked about this a little bit before, but this situation has happened to me probably 50 times in my fishing career. And it's happened to anyone else. If you're a tournament fisherman and you have been a long time, this exact thing's happened to you. I was at a tournament down at Lake Toho, Kissimmee about 20 years ago. It was a FLW tournament down there. And it was the second day of practice. I came off the water and I went to gas my boat up in town there at the gas station. And I was planning my next day as far as where I wanted to fish at. And I was fishing on Lake Kissimmee on the south end, and there's some big backwater areas on the north end of the lake that are protected. And as I'm gassing my boat up, I'm thinking that, you know, I probably want to go up to that north end of Kissimmee because the wind's supposed to blow the north and this area will be protected. And there was this one area that had a big lily pad field in it that I always caught them in before. And sure enough, guys, about a couple minutes later, this dude pulls up to me in a truck, a local guy's there, and he starts talking about, you know, hey, what's going on there? You got the tournament down here? And he goes, I can tell you where you can catch them at. And I said, right off the bat, he said, well, I can't get any information. I appreciate it, but, you know, we're off limits for information now. And he goes, it's a free country and you can't, you know, stop me from talking. So while I'm sitting there gassing my boat up, this guy's, you know, hanging out right next to me, and he starts talking about this area on the north end of Lake Kissimmee I need to go to, a big lily pad field. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's like, this is exactly what I wanted to do. So anyway, I'm sitting there telling him, I said, man, I appreciate it. I cannot get any information. And he just keeps talking. So I'm sitting there minding my own business, and this guy's telling me this, and I'm thinking, okay, tomorrow, should I even practice there since this guy told me that? It's like, if I practice there and I catch him and then I get polygraphed, am I going to fail the polygraph test? And so I'm having this all night long. I'm thinking about this. It's like, do I want to spend my third day of practice in this particular area, you know, simply because, you know, or not spend there because this guy told me that. And I finally decided, it's like, hey, look, this is where I was going to go. I did not solicit any information. I didn't try to, you know, ask him anything. This was my plan. So I went ahead and practiced there. I didn't do that good in the tournament. I wound up not even fishing there to begin with, but I did practice there. Not because what that guy said, because I've had history on that lake before. But let's change the scenario a little bit. Let's say that I did practice there, and say that I won the tournament out of this area and I got polygraphed, or I finished in 10th place in the polygraph, and they asked me a question. It's like, Randy, did you receive any information, you know, in this tournament? What do I say? It's like, no, I didn't, or yeah, I did. I was at a gas station and this guy started talking about Lake Kissimmee where I wound up fishing at, not because he told me. So would I have failed the polygraph? That's my question. It's like, I think I probably would have, if unless I told him the situation. It's like I said, no, this guy told me that where he wanted me to fish and I was already planning on practicing there. So that's the situation I'm talking about, where somebody can get caught in the middle on these polygraph, you know, exams and be completely innocent. So anyway, guys, Bassmaster has got to get rid of it. It is ruining careers. It is putting a stigma on anglers. And the best thing about it, guys, is when you get to that level, you're just going to have to rely on the other anglers to police other anglers and people to police themselves. It's like, it's not worth it for somebody. It's like, think about it. If somebody reaches the level of the Bassmaster Elite Series or the Bass Pro Tour, do you think they're really going to jeopardize their entire career by intentionally cheating? That's just not going to happen. So we have got to come up with a better type of a system and you know, have more solid evidence before somebody is labeled as, you know, a cheater for they may not even be cheating. Because I can promise you guys, there has been people out there that have failed polygraph tests that did nothing wrong, and there's been people out there that have passed polygraph tests that have cheated. I can promise you that's taken place. So anyway, it's messed up and that needs to change. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on it, guys. Let me know what you think.